Hi, my name is Gail, and I'd like to welcome you to How To Tuesday with Lori's Country Cottage. The project that I'm going to be sharing with you today is how to make these cute little drawstring bags. But they're not just any drawstring bag, they're actually tic-tac-toe games. My grandson loves to play games, and I thought it would be very cool if I could make him a little bag that had the board on the front, a drawstring bag to hold all the pieces in, and when he wants to play, he takes the pieces out, you lay the board down flat, and you're ready to go. No pen and paper needed, and it's fully washable, a bonus. It also turned into a little bit of an arts and crafts project at my house because my grandson decided he wanted to help make the play pieces. So he got out some Lego, and he decided he was going to make little trucks. That could be the play pieces on his board. And we've also been experimenting with melting pony beads. And we've made little cars, and they can be the play pieces as well. And for the floral bag, we also have been experimenting and making little flowers from melted pony beads. So you can let your imagination go wild when you're coming up with game pieces. You could use buttons, you could use little rocks with an X marked on some and an O marked on some. You could make those little yo-yo flowers. Whatever you can think of, do it with your little one that you want to play this game with. So we're going to get into how to make this bag. The bag is fully lined. There is no raw seams anywhere. So to make one bag, what you're going to need is, for your main fabric, you are going to need one piece that's 8.5 by 8.5 inches. You're going to need two pieces that are 2 inches by 8.5 inches. You're going to need two pieces that are 2 inches by 5.5 inches. For the accent of the bag, which is this top part up here that the drawstring goes through, as well as the game board, you are going to need two pieces that are 6.5 by 8.5. And to make the game board, you're going to need 3 pieces that are 2 inches by 7 inches. You can choose to use whatever color you want to make the grid lines in the bag. For this bag, I chose to make the ties and the grid lines the same color. So to make the ties, you need 0.1 of a meter of fabric. If you also want to make the grid lines using the same fabric, you'll need 0.15 meter. On this one, I used the same color that I lined the bag with. So in that case, a fat quarter will do you. You don't need any extra. And for the lining of the bag, you'll need 2 squares that are 8.5 by 8.5. So it's fat quarter friendly, 3 fat quarters and a little bit of fabric just to make the ties, and you're ready to go. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to make the grid. So to make the grid, you're going to take your 3 pieces of fabric that are 2 inches by 7 inches. You're going to sew them together with whatever color you chose for your grid lines, and these pieces are 3/4 of an inch by 7 inches. Once you get that all sewn together, you have to subcut it. So you're just going to take your ruler and you're going to straighten off an edge just like you would if you were quilting. Once you have that edge straightened off, you are going to make 3 subcuts at 2 inches. And that's going to give you all the pieces that you're going to need for your game board. You're going to have just a smidge of fabric left over on the one end after you make your subcuts. And that's just waste. So here's number 2. And here is subcut number 3. So 3 subcuts at 2 inches. Then you're going to take your fabric, that's 3/4 of an inch by 5.5 inches, and you are going to place it in between each of your subcut pieces, and you're going to create your grid. Once you have the grid created, you want to square it to 5.5 inches by 5.5 inches. The next thing that you're going to do is you are going to put the pieces around the grid. So you are going to put a 2" by 5.5" piece on each side, pressing out towards the side pieces. Then you're going to put a 2" by 8.5" piece on the top and the bottom. Now you've got the front of your bag made. After that, it's time to lay all of our pieces out. So we have the piece that we just made for our bag. The next piece that's going to go up against it is your accent piece, and then the bag lining. And then going down, you're going to put the other piece of the bag, an accent piece, and the bag lining. You're going to sew these pieces together at each seam. Where the accent pieces are, this piece I pressed out towards the lining fabric and the main body fabric, and this one I pressed it in towards the accent piece. That makes it really easy to line up when you're putting your bag together because you have seams that are nesting. Once you get all of those pieces sewn together, you're going to have something that looks like this. Only now it's going to look like this bag. So you have the long pieces that you had together folded over in half. What you're going to want to do next is you are going to want to measure from your seam line down 1" and make a mark at each side. Slide your ruler down to 2" and you're going to make a mark here and here on your accent piece at 2". These lines that you're making on here now are going to be where your casing is for you to put the drawstring ties through. You're going to want to match your seams up nicely. You want to leave a 3" opening in the bottom of the lining piece of fabric. You're going to sew starting at the one edge of the opening, back stitch. You're going to sew all the way around up to where you have the opening for the drawstring. You're going to back stitch here. You're going to clip your threads. You're going to leave the drawstring opening not sewn. Then you're going to start again back stitching. You're going to go all the way around, come down to here, back stitch, clip your threads, leave the drawstring opening open, start sewing again, back stitching, come all the way around to where you're leaving the opening in the bottom, and back stitch again. Take your scissors, clip your corners at an angle just to get rid of a little bit of the bulk, and then you're going to want to take this and you're going to want to turn it right side out through the opening that you made. You're going to have to poke out each of your corners. My tool of choice to do that with is a ballpoint bodkin because it's got a nice round ball at the end. I find if I use sharp things, pointy things, I poke through. So you're going to go and you're going to take this and you're going to turn it all right side out. It's very easy to do, and you'd never know that you're going to have something like this that's totally enclosed and it's going to turn into a bag. So all the way. After you get all of your corners poked out and everything, you're going to want to go to the iron and you're going to want to press all around the outside edges and give it a really nice crisp press. So I'm not going to work too hard at poking these out right now, but you'll see you basically have one piece. You're going to want to press this opening that you turned the bag through closed, and you're going to want to stitch it either by hand or machine. I personally stitched mine by machine. So after you have this all nicely pressed and everything, it's all totally enclosed, you are going to take the accent part, you're going to pull it apart, and you're going to stuff the lining down into the bag. Now it's beginning to look more like what you think it should look like. So So you're going to stuff your lining all the way down, and this accent piece at the top of the bag started off being 6.5 inches by 8.5 inches. So basically now it'll be 3 inches showing on this side and 3 inches is folded to the back. So you are going to just measure here, so you've got 3 inches, and you're going to give it a nice good press. Once you get that pressed, it's going to look like this. And the only thing you have to do now to your drawstring bag is you have to sew where the casing is. I find that the easiest way to do that, it's 1 inch, is to take a piece of masking tape or painter's tape, and I'm just going to find out where my casing is. I'm going to put a piece of tape on there. Sometimes it doesn't want to stick very well, especially if you use desk press on your fabric when you were starting off, which I did. And you're going to draw it along and make it match where the other casing is. So then I'm also going to put a piece on the back. All you have to do now, if you have a free arm machine, is slip this on, and you're going to stitch right next to the masking tape all the way around the whole entire bag, and then on this side all the way around the whole entire bag. You peel off your masking tape, and there you have your casing. So it's got the little holes where you're going to feed your drawstring through. You're going to need to make 2 drawstrings. To make your drawstring, you are going to take your fabric that's 1.5 inches wide by 32 inches. You're going to fold it in half, wrong sides together, and give it a press. Then you are going to open it up. You're going to fold the one side into that center crease. Then you're going to fold the other side into the center crease. Then you're going to fold it together again, and that forms your drawstring. After you've got that all together, all you need to do is top stitch it. So stitch closely all the way down the one edge, and then stitch closely all the way down the other edge. It may seem like it's a little bit fussy, but it really isn't. They went quite quickly. To feed these through, if you have a bodkin, you'll just take the end, you can feed it through the hole, and this is what you're going to feed in through your bag to put your cording in. So you're going to put the first one in this hole. You're going to go all the way around, and you're going to come out the same hole. Then you're going to take those 2 ends and you're going to knot them together. Then you're going to take the other drawstring and put it in through this hole, go all the way around the entire bag, coming out the same hole again, and you are going to knot that end. Then whenever you have your bag and you pull it closed, it's nice and snug. There's no little pieces that are going to come out. So that's how you make your own little personal tic-tac-toe board. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for joining. You might be wondering how you go about melting the pony beads into whatever shape you want. We're not professionals at it by any stretch of the imagination, and I just got it off of the internet. But what we did is we took a metal pan and we put parchment paper down, and then we took the beads and put them into whatever design you want to put them in. You have to have them so that they're touching. Then we put them in a toaster oven at 400 degrees. And basically, it's just a matter of watching it. On the internet, I read that you could go for 6 minutes and it still kind of looked like pony beads. You could let it go for 8. Some said to go for 10. You really have to watch. I found that the different colored beads melt at different rates. So when we were doing blue cars, we only did blue cars. So it's a matter of experimenting. It's kind of stinky when you do it, so we took the toaster oven outside and put it on the table on the patio, and it was a lot of fun.